So I want to sort of demonstrate some basics to get you going in JavaScript and in jQuery. And in doing that, the exercise that I want to use is creating a dark mode. I personally think that every app should have a dark mode. When you're using it at night, it's just a great thing to have. That way the screen is not so bright. So right here, I've created just a basic app. I have this white background, and I've just created a button that says dark mode. And on the code side, you can see the button tag here with the words dark mode in it. Right now, you can click the button and it doesn't do anything, and that's where JavaScript comes into place. You're going to click the button and some JavaScript is going to run, and what's meant by dark mode is that it gets a little easier on the eyes. Your whites turn to black, your text color may change. If you have black text, that won't show up on a black background, so you might want to change that to white. Okay, so I have a few styles here that just is the default mode, your white background and your black text color. And so first thing is I'm going to make kind of a dark mode in CSS. What I'm going to do is I actually like to attach a class to the body. Can come up here to the body tag and I can say class dark. So now my app is in dark mode. And I come down here to CSS and I have to define what that means. I'm going to select the body with the class dark. I'm going to make some modifications here. I'm going to add some rules. I'm going to say the background color should probably be black. And I'm going to make the text color, even though I don't have any text, I'm going to make it white. Okay, so now this is sort of in dark mode. I kind of want to change the behavior of my button when it's in dark mode. So what I have to do there is I have to select the body with the class dark and all the buttons within it. So this says I'm selecting, this is my selector here in yellow. I'm selecting a button that's inside the body dark element. That is the body element with the dark class. So now I get to say this. I'm going to say the background color should be, I'll go with black. I want to make sure you can still see the button. And I'll say the color should be white. There we go. That looks like a good dark mode to me. Now if I were to remove the class from body, then all that goes away and I'm back into light mode. So we haven't done any JavaScript yet. The JavaScript piece is toggling between the two. I want to have a light mode that loads by default, and then I want the user to click the dark mode button to go into dark mode. I'm going to select my button here that says dark mode. So to do that, I only have one button. So I can say button. I can select my button. With my button selected, I can say on. That means I'm about to fire an event, and the event is clicking. I'm going to click the button. And so what happens when you click the button? Well, I'm going to run a function, and I think I'll name that function onDark. So this is just the name of the function. So I haven't defined that function yet. I'm going to go above that line and say function onDark, open close parenthesis, open curly brace. And now inside this function I get to define what onDark does. So what it's going to do is it's going to add a dark class to the body. So let's do that. First I have to select the body. I'm going to say body. And then I say dot after that, and I get to say add class. And the class that I want to add is dark. Okay. So what this says is when I click a button, it's going to run a function called onDark, and that's going to add a class to the body. This is what onDark does. It adds a class to the body. So let's see if that works. I know that I'm using jQuery because I have these $signs here. So I have to make sure before I run this, before I click my button, I have to make sure that jQuery is a part of my project. you can do that under settings. Under this JavaScript setting here, here's the CSS settings. You want to be under JavaScript, and there's actually a quick add option for jQuery, and it just adds it right in there. Save and close. So now I shouldn't have any errors. I should see, when I click dark mode, what I want to happen is that my dark CSS kicks in with the dark background and the light text. So we're going to click it now. And that's exactly what I wanted. Now if the user wants to get back, he can't. All this is doing is adding that same class over and over, but that worked. So now the body has that dark class, and it was dynamically added with JavaScript. So I do want to give the user a way to get back. So if they click the button again, I may want to bring them back to light mode. So my function add class, I'm going to change that to toggle class. And so now I should be able to switch between the two. There we go. So that's dark with that click, and then back to light. So that class is being added, and then if it's there, it's being removed. That's what's meant by toggle. So functions like add class and toggle class, where did I get those from? Well, that's a part of jQuery. And if you want to know more about what functions there are available to you, you can go to jQuery.com, and you can look at the API documentation, and you're going to see functions that start with dot, like .add, .addback, .addClass, which we just used. And what that means is this dot, that comes after the thing you selected. So in my case, I selected the body, and then I said .addClass or .toggleClass. There are all kinds of functions that you can use, and this is all available to you on jQuery.com. So I'm going to show you another useful function. This is meant to be kind of an intro to JavaScript, an intro to jQuery. So I'm going to use another function that I like, and the function is .html. And I'll show you what that does. Now this is going to give you a syntax error because I'm not done with this line yet. I want to write something to the screen. I want to say, user, you are in dark mode. So to do that, I'm going to create an element in HTML. And I'll just give this the class of messages. I'll go ahead and create that. And I just want to tell the user you are in dark mode. So I'm going to select my element I just created. This is a div with the class messages. And HTML actually lets me put HTML inside that container. So I can use my double quotes, and I can say, I'll say dark mode activated. Something like that. And so now, this is my messages element. I'll just put something in there at first so you can see where it is, messages. So here's my little div here. It says messages. I'm going to click dark mode, and that text is going to change. Dark mode activated. So that's what HTML does. I actually put this text inside of this div element. So that's something really useful, and that's why I wanted to show it to you in this first video. If I wanted to make that an H1, a heading for some reason, this is just to show you that you can put tags inside of HTML function. H1. So now when I click dark mode, that's going to be an H1 that gets written. That's great. So hopefully this is a good video. It shows you all the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all in one, and it gives you some handy functions that you can use to create a dark mode and to use really useful functions in jQuery.